Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're going over eyebrows, how to get rid of unwanted hair and how I would draw eyebrows back in. Now I've already made a copy of my background layer. You can see that here because good practice, always make a copy. But today we're going to be working on a blank layer. Go ahead and click here and a blank layer will pop up. I'm going to go ahead and rename it hair removal just so I can keep organized. And while selected on that layer, I'm going to come over here and evaluate some of the ways that we can get rid of hair. First off, let's go over the Spot Healing Brush tool. Now, this tool is going to be kind of doing some guesswork for you. When you select an area, you're telling Photoshop, hey, I want to get rid of this, or I want to blend this with the pixels around it. Now, the problem here is a lot of the time it's going to be messing with your texture. It's not going to be transferring texture very well, and sometimes the area that is around the place that you're selecting just isn't that great. You can kind of see the discrepancy there. So I'm going to go ahead and Control-Alt-Z and tap Z a couple times to get rid of what I've just done. Okay, so another tool that also kind of takes some of the guesswork out of it is the Healing Brush tool, and I feel that this one is far superior to the Spot Healing Brush tool just because it allows you to maintain texture a little bit better. So you're going to go ahead and zoom in, and the difference between this tool and the other tool is with this one you can actually select the target area that you would like Photoshop to sample from. So holding Alt, you're going to get this little bullseye looking thing, and you can click wherever you want Photoshop to sample from. So this is a pretty big, nice, clean area here, and I'm going to select from there. Then you can come over here and draw over any blemishes or hair that you want to. And you can see that little cross mark is where Photoshop is actually sampling from. So you can kind of maintain where you're going, which is kind of nice. So you make sure you're not off in this crazy area here and trying to cover up here and it's not working because you're selecting an area that looks nothing like what you're trying to cover. So keeping that in mind, Control-Alt-Z to get rid of that. Both of those tools are good, but in my opinion, the clone stamp tool is going to give you more control and going to yield better results. So that being said, I'm going to come down here, and if you don't know, the clone stamp tool is essentially a tool that makes a copy of what you select. So Alt here, click there, and it's copying the area that I've selected. The cool thing about this is you can change it to work with you. Kind of like the brush, you can change the opacity, you can change the flow, the diameter, the hardness, well, any of them you can change the diameter. That being said, you want your diameter to be about as big as the space that you're covering. You don't want to be huge because it's gonna look ridiculous, and you don't want to be too small because then you have to go back over it so many times and your pixels are gonna look blurry. It's no good. So just make sure your diameter is about the size of what you're covering and you should be good to go. Anyway, so all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and clean the rest of this up real quick. Alright guys, so that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and look at our before and our after, and we are ready to start drawing the hair back in. So I'm going to open up a new layer and call it Hair Draw In. Call it whatever you want, just a good way to stay organized. I'm going to go ahead and just paint them back in for today for this method. Grab your paint brush, and one of the paint brushes that I like to use is this one. It's just a couple little dots. You can find free brushes all over the internet. Brush Easy is one of my favorites. Let's get to it. So I'm going to go to my brush settings and change this brush to be about 2 pixels. That's a good starting place. Alright. So first off, I'm just going to be drawing the shape of the eyebrow. So I'm going to go ahead and select here, just whatever color in the eyebrow, and start kind of just doing long strokes to get my shape. Figure out where you want the arch, and if you have any trouble with this, just pop onto Google and type in like eyebrow shapes, and that might give you some good references to go from. make sure this stays light because I don't want this to be primarily what you see. But I do want to guide. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Alright, let's turn it off. Turn it back on. Zoom out. Looks good, why not? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go back to my brushes and get my thicker one, or my more condensed little dots, and take that to, we'll start with 2 pixels. Again, why not? Alright, hair draw in. I'm going to select like a dark brown, and I'm going to do tiny, tiny little strokes. And I want the hairs to kind of go horizontal and up, pretty much any way that an eyebrow hair might naturally lay. I just keep doing this for a while. This can be very time consuming, especially if you have to draw in an entire eyebrow or reshape an entire eyebrow. Okay, so I mean that's looking pretty good for right now, and I did just want to kind of go outside the lines a little bit here and show you guys how to fix that if that happens, because you know sometimes we just get a little crazy when we're drawing in our eyebrows. So on hair draw in layer, you're going to go ahead and put a layer mask on there. I'm going to select a fuzzy brush and make sure that your brush is your color is black. So as you're on your layer mask, this will hide the areas that you paint over. And if you go too far, like that, and go, oh, well, I needed that. Then you select, make sure your white is selected, and paint it back in. Clean up a little bit here. And I think that even maybe a little bit down here should be cleaned up. And just come down there, come down around there, but it's looking pretty good. Alright, not bad for a quick tutorial. Let's look at a before and after. There's a before, and there's our after. I hope that you find application for this. Thanks for watching.